Why aren't these movies over yet?
Well,
Why?
actually, they technically are.
Are
We're
they?
halfway there. We can do it.
Joba, you keep that pedanticness out of his Halloween run. You know exactly what Pedro meant.
Why? Why? Go on,
Well,
Jimmy.
Okay, we're not even over with this one. What is today's passivant, Jova?
Okay, so, not content with making a movie where barely anything happens. Not content with making a movie that essentially made some of the main characters glorified cheerleaders for Alice. Not content with essentially mashing in bits from Resident Evil 5 with his OC fanfiction, Paul W.S. Anderson decided with this movie, hey, you know what I haven't done before? I'm going to employ the use of nostalgia.
Nostalgia for what?
I mean, he kind of
You'll
already
see.
started doing that with the previous movie by having Chris randomly show up.
No. Not nostalgia for the Resident Evil series, guys. Nostalgia for the Resident Evil movie timeline, of
Oh,
course.
clearly I'm having so much nostalgia about the laser room.
Well, the sad thing is the laser room, if Resident Evil 4 remakes bit with the Ada DLC is anything to go by,
Let me put it this
is
way.
the only thing that came back from the movies into this thing proper that stayed anyway.
Let me tell you one thing, Paul. You're no Don Mancini, so stop it.
Okay, Resident Evil Retribution is today's movie. This one was made in 2012, a mere 2 years after Resident Evil Afterlife. And once again, it would star Mila Jovovich, now Paul W. Sanderson's lovely, faithful, and beautiful wife. In case you didn't know by now. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Paul decides that you didn't know, because get ready. Despite her having supposedly lost her powers in the previous movie, she's back and ready to do even more action.
Also, as I mentioned in the end of the previous movie, a couple of characters which survived the events of the previous movies do not show up in this, namely K-Mart, Chris, and Claire. I think they are at the beginning as stock footage of some kind, but otherwise they're not in the movie. Claire, if I recall correctly, will still gonna survive to show up in the final movie, but Chris and K-Mart are basically gone. Chris, one of the key protagonists of the franchise, and he's gone already from one movie. I have to remind you how insane this shit is.
And yet, believe it or not, I'm not gonna spoil why. That's just something to wait for on the final chapter. But Chris is probably the video game original character who got the best treatment out of them all. Again, that might seem like an impossibility, but trust me, by the time of final chapter, you will see. For now, this is Resident Evil Retribution, made on one of the highest budgets of any of these movies, $65 million, made a box office total of $240.2 million.
So yeah, still quite the success.
However, a noticeable downturn from the box office success of the previous movie, which made $300.2 million. So while these were still profitable, we were starting to see a downward trend in profits.
Especially because the distance between this movie and the final one will be 4 years.
Which does make me wonder if there was stuff going on behind the scenes, but there's plenty more time to speculate on that. For now, the logo to start on is, of course, the good old blood red Screen Gems logo.
You should also hear the sound of an helicopter. There's like 1 second of black screen before that.
All right, let's not beat around the bush anymore. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, click.
If I keep throwing shit at the wall, eventually one of the turds will stick, right?
I guess
ironically,
okay, like you said in the previous couple of movies, it's been a long time since I watched these, so I forgot. I know for a fact that this continues the tradition of fucking up whatever the status quo was set at the end of the previous movie, but I forgot exactly how it does it.
Okay, so from what I've studied of the trajectories, it seems that Afterlife was the most financially successful of these movies. After Afterlife, we would start to see a downturn. Although, granted, apparently Final Chapter picked things back up a bit, but I do have a bit of a theory on that. Okay, so before Afterlife, the movies had been successful, sure, but their things had mainly been like, something over 100 million. Afterlife was apparently the first one to get, like, over 300 million. Here's my take. Afterlife is probably the closest you get to having a proper Resident Evil movie, like, in terms of adapting game events while merging in its own original stuff. And like I said, Chris is probably the only character who did not get turned into just an Alice cheerleader and actually was able to do stuff that Alice wasn't able to.
Go, Alice, go towards the light.
Hey, this is how the spirits died.
Also, I remember this. They kind of do something like the trailer of Dead Island did, where they see the action shown in reverse, and you get to piece what happened. Cabin Fever 3 also had this weird mechanic going on. I guess somebody thought it was cool as a gimmick, but it just doesn't make any sense.
I suppose to give this movie one credit, at least it actually builds up continuity-wise proper from the previous film.
Well, yeah, we saw that Jill was about to attack with a Skull of Valley carrier, so yeah, your money shot is gonna save you.
Is this movie just?
Actually, apparently,
is this whole movie gonna be in reverse?
No. Also, you've seen the credits right. Not only Michelle Rodriguez is returning in this, probably stock footage. Let's just keep it at that. But we have a couple of more, game characters showing up here.
I'm sorry.
Namely, Leon Scott Kennedy and Barry Burton.
Okay, that's for whatever. Like, also, okay, I guess I need to rephrase my earlier statement.
Colin Salmon.
Paul, you're not Christopher Nolan. Stop.
There it is.
Also, they got back Sienna's Jill again. Game accurate with how she is brainwashed.
And as people predicted, obviously Wesker is also returning.
So
yes, Ada Wong is in this movie too.
That credit we just saw there, I want to kind of bring something up on that actually. It says Lee Bing as Ada Wong. Not her voice actually.
She got dubbed over.
Yes, and believe it or not, believe it or not, because I guess since Anderson wanted to say, see, I'm totally like the games. He actually got Ada Wong's game actress at the time, Sally Cahill, to dub over her lines.
Wait, really?
I mean,
yeah, she played Ada in 2, 4, and she played Ada in 2, 4, and the Dark Side Chronicles.
Paul,
you couldn't get an actress, of proper Asian descent of any kind, Central Asian.
Well, guys, you said you wanted it more like the games.
Okay, yes, okay, Paul. But here's
the point of screwing over people.
Also, Paul, too little, too late by this point. I mean.
Also,
Hi, Alice.
So, Paul, do you think you can go for this entire movie without having, portraying Alice as a goddess?
Pedro, the first shot literally established her surviving the ship.
Never mind. This is like me. Never mind. This is like me trying to argue with Toriyama.
Hey guys, remember the first movie?
Remember the first movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a convenient recap for those who have forgotten about those.
Oh my god!
Almost 10 years past.
But yeah,
again with that, the trouble was they didn't stay deadline. They've repeated that for like almost every other movie.
At this point, Paul W. S. Anderson is that image of Will Smith presenting his wife,
I shall repeat. # not my Alice.
Never mind. Taylor's right. It's like trying to argue with Toriyama about lightning. It's just like.
It's like Paul everything is like that image of the Simpsons where Homer is like, first, Alice is supposed to be super powerful and accessible time machine. Second, when Alice is not screen, all the characters should always ask, "Where is Alice?" Yeah, not just that. Somehow he turned the world into a dust bowl. Are we gonna acknowledge that?
Which is, again, not how it worked in the games, because the point of the games is that, several military operations were done
Jova,
to keep that stuff under wraps.
Jova, for the sake of our sanity, let's just pretend we don't know about the games, because it's no use. It really has no use.
It's no use.
Also, she said she became powerful while they were using footage from the first movie where she didn't have the superpowers. Oops.
Oh my god, Jova, I just realized. Can you imagine Paul trying to adapt anything from Village? What actress would even play her? We know who I mean.
You mean
I guess.
Dimitrescu?
Yeah, who would even play her?
Angelica
Monica
Huston.
Bellucci.
That could
Please,
work too.
Is she tall enough for that?
Well, if they can fix that in post.
I guess.
I mean, they made her.
A technique adjusting the height is a technique that Peter Jackson, mastered with Lord of the Rings anyway.
I guess.
Pretty much, and they made her imposing in Brothers Grimm, so they could easily make her appear taller. If not her, Angelica Huston, who legit is a giant.
Not to mention, I totally would, but anyway.
Maybe
Yes.
maybe we could get the actress from Tall Girl.
So now we get to see how the scene properly started, in the right order. So what was the point of the reverse shot at the beginning?
To look cool. Okay, now granted, we never see Chris die, and nothing in
never
Final Chapter
K-Mart.
suggests.
For all we know, they're just there on fuck with this.
He's doing it already. She's literally destroying helicopters with just 2 mini shotguns.
Remember,
What does
Pedro,
that
the
say?
last
The
movie
money
established
shot.
that
Oh my God, it's
not as apparently that great.
Oh my god, it's Man of Steel 1 year earlier. No.
And now we open up.
To be fair, Pedro, I'm seeing a lot of color in this.
And now we open up to the revelation that it was all just a dream.
So that entire bit was just a waste of my time. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Paul.
She's totally not being rescued. Also, Mila, put
Paul.
please.
Paul.
Yeah, I thought, huh?
Well, guys, she's technically not naked.
I
Well,
was gonna say, considering the starting shot, I thought you were gonna say,
What?
and she's naked again.
let's face it, Jova. The only let's face it, Jova. Like, you know what, Paul? Why not just make home porn videos with your wife at this point?
I mean, I would watch Resident Evil porn properly done by Paul Douglas.
Wait a minute. Hold on. She's with Carlos? But Carlos is dead.
They brought back Carlos actor for these too.
And they have a daughter, too, who's deaf.
Although I should mention, actually, the actress they cast to play her is actually at least partly deaf.
Wow. In 2012, for 2012, and for someone who Paul W.S. Henderson who normally doesn't care much about a lot of stuff, that's actually impressive.
Woo, bare minimum, let's go.
That's the thing. For 2012
well,
standards,
Shiri,
it actually is surprising.
Shiri, would you rather go back to the Dark Ages and have someone do a complete caricature of a deaf person?
No, I would not, but
I feel like that's referencing
That's the thing that I
something.
mentioned in one of the previous 2 movies. The more frustrating thing with Paul W.S. Anderson is that for all the bad shit these movies have, they deliberately try to avoid a lot of cliches and bad things, like the black guy dying first. That's not what happens, the forced.
someone's not a morning person.
Yeah, she's more of a night owl. There you go. Other cliches of any kind, and this is another case too. Instead of wanting to wanting to actually be more respectful towards an actual disability. Which at the time it was a thing that would have been reputed more of a luxury, an excessive thing, more than a normality.
Also, we saw who's playing Leon earlier in the credits as well. There were a couple of actors who were initially either considered / auditioned for the role. like in the previous film, one of them was Jensen Ackles. But again, I'm guessing he was still too busy with Supernatural at this point.
Jensen Ackles.
But you know who also auditioned? Matthew Mercer.
Sure, why not? I mean, if you've actually seen any material pertaining, Critical Role, he has the look.
He auditioned, he tried out, he didn't get the role.
Anderson, I know you wanted to say, look, guys, I brought more of the characters, but weren't you kind of spoiling your load by revealing that those characters will be in the movie with those opening credits?
I think even the trailers and the posters did not sugarcoat it about it.
Yeah. But yeah, again, so regularly with each movie, he'd only bring in a few game characters. But not with this one. No, this one he decided to go for the jackpot by bringing in pretty much the remaining major players.
The only one that's missing is Rebecca Chambers when you really get down to it. I don't think she shows up.
And granted, to be fair, Rebecca Chambers had kind of been absent from the series until Vendetta, the movie.
So basically Anderson was doing Welcome to Raccoon City 9 years earlier.
Also, I checked in the meantime, Jova, stuff that you mentioned in the previous movie about...
What the hell? Michelle Rodriguez? What are you doing
What are you doing here?
Also, that car.
Did Paul forget what happened in the previous movies?
I get the idea he's playing us for a fool.
Right,
also, I checked about Death Island, Jova, and yes, I can confirm you that Chris and Claire are, co-protagonists. But not just that; it's essentially a huge fan service because it unites the major protagonists: Chris, Leon, Jill, Claire, and Rebecca.
Right, you talk about the new Death Island movie, right?
Death Island, yes. The only one technically missing from the OG squad is Barry Burton.
And we're in Raccoon City. Oh my God! I can't believe that I can't believe that the previous movies have all been a bad dream, and Alice in reality was married to Carlos, and it turns out that Rain from the first movie was actually just a good-hearted citizen all this time.
Is this another dream?
Dream.
Either that, or essentially, again, apologies, audience, but, like what Pedro mentioned, in our case, I don't watch these movies too often.
I love it. They just left Rain in the car.
For me, it's one of those things where it's just like if you're a fan of the games, don't bother.
Also, to be fair, I'm kind of biased because we watched recently Tekken 2 Kazuya's Revenge, and compared to that, this feels like a breath of fresh air.
Well, congratulations. You're better than Tekken 2 Kazuya's Revenge. Do you want a cookie?
You're better than the director of Ballistic X vs. Sever.
Not you, Paul.
Yes, Roy.
Even if you're watching this movie series as somebody who doesn't care about video games at all, I don't think you could really enjoy these.
No, they're bad movies. They're terrible.
Which is, again, I do think that was...
I mean,
again with the Los Pagos.
I mean, the first Secret of NEM is not exactly, a faithful adaptation, but this is a great movie in its own right.
What is that gesture? You're not supposed to summon Leviathan.
The subtitles said it.
Oh, it actually is what it means in sign language. My bad.
Well, this movie already has better subtitles than Blue Beetle, or at least most copies of Blue Beetle.
I should probably say this is probably ASL specifically.
So even this is
the sign language is not a universal language. So
so either it's a dream, a flashback, or an alternate universe in which Alice is kind of the opposite of.
Speaking of Oh my God!
Well, let's just say, Dwibs, you don't know the full story.
And she's literally standing on the umbrella logo.
We're back
naked.
I think at this point,
finally, everything is as it should be.
I think at this point, even Vanessa would say Paul is a creep.
Paul.
Okay. Let me just say one thing. Considering she's the director's wife and everything.
No, I get that. I know.
If she consented to be naked, I'm not gonna be one.
Oh no, obviously.
It's not even that.
I think we're just doing it for the jokes, honestly.
No, see, here's the thing. Boy. Here's the thing, does my wife fully agrees with everything that you just said. It's just, in fact, she actually likes the fact that I'm kind of like that to her as well, like Paul is to
Okay.
well, what's her name? Mila Jovovich. That's it. The
okay,
thing is, I think even my wife at this point would say there's something wrong with this guy.
Okay, I have
It
to
was
wonder.
not in our contract to make a porno. We were supposed to make it out of.
If you want to make a porno, just make a porno.
Now, guys, I know that this
Yes, sir?
turns Paul on, but what if this also turns Mila on?
Yeah. Oh no, sure. That's right. I'm sure. I'm speaking to both of them. Look, Mila, Paul. Unlike what some people on the internet would tell you, there's nothing wrong with making porn. So just go make it.
So yeah, Alice is prisoner again of Umbrella, a facility held by Jill.
Yep.
Brrr.
You're two grown adults. You consent. You can consent. Just
hoping
make
is
that
holding
porn
too
and
much.
just get out of your system already.
But don't
Also,
you
that
see
alarm
this?
is obnoxious. I just woke up.
I
You see,
think that's
Pa-
the idea, Shiro.
You see, Pedro, this is their porn. They just decided to share it with
This
the
is
whole world. Also,
This is the worst porno ever. Then it's boring and there's no sex. Like what kind of porno is this?
Admittedly, yes. That's I agree with Pedro on this
Intellectual
one.
porno.
Fuck off. That shit.
That's the thing, Shiro. There are directors who can actually pull off on an artistic level, you know, and that would be better than the stuff that you find online at this point. But
wow.
no, this is
So
not,
I have to wonder: have we hit the record for the longest that Alice has been naked in one of these movies yet?
Not just that, I guess that's the entire thing. We're keeping torturing her until her mind breaks.
Basically, they ask, "Why did you turn against Alice, Project Alice? Why did you turn against Umbrella? Even though we already know why she turned against Umbrella. We've seen the first movie."
Like, Wesker knew it, so why Jill wouldn't?
But wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
The security system is down. Perfect with bondage gear.
Well, that's her usual stuff, so I'm not too surprised.
So basically, she's only got that amount of time to get out.
How nice of the computer to provide her with an outfit.
And for the record, since we didn't mention it that much and only talked about these in tangentially, yes, so
Hey, hang on, you skipped a minute.
some CGI movies, of Resident Evil have their own stupid shit and problems too. Like Vendetta is infamous for having gun combat that is very stupid.
Oh
But,
god, I can't wait for when we get to cover the CGI movies, but...
You're skipping time. This isn't fair.
Okay, now here's something that's stupid. Apparently, the computer system also controls people with Umbrella. And yeah,
With
they got the
Umbrella
stupid
logo in their
Umbrella
eyes.
just like how Alice did in the second movie's end. Like, yeah, no, that's not how the control parasite worked on Jill, but trust me, that's the least of these movies' problems. Wait till you see who actually is our main bad guy for this movie.
Hey, it's the laser again.
Let me guess. She gets 7. Yeah.
At least... There you go. At least Leon had the courtesy of doing a flip over them.
And welcome to GameStop.
Thank you, but I prefer Kex myself.
Power for the players.
Yeah, at a price. Seriously. And that's when they are not overstuffing with merchandise instead of...
I still remember that. Only at GameStop. Power to the players.
Like,
Is this
no
Tokyo?
joking, most of the GameStop here in my country these days have more of those stupid Funko Pops than actual games are selling.
For me, it's
these
like,
days.
oh, you guys have GameStop over there? We never had those. Like we have specific stores for that.
That was our only famous game selling chains that we had in my country for a while. Only recently, Kex showed up, and it was such a blessing. Trust me.
So I
Yeah,
just
thought
got
she
a...
was- I thought she was going to get 2 pistols out, and I was going to say, guys, the Tomb Raider reboot film won't be for another 6 years.
So I just gotta know, who at Umbrella thought, hey, yeah, we should hire Tetsuya Nomura to design one of our outfits. Seriously, look at all those
To
belts
be
on
fair,
that
he
thing.
designed also stuff like a Batman action figure, so...
And I know what you're thinking, no, these people are not holograms. But yes, we are actually in Tokyo now.
But wait a second, Tokyo had been a part of the outbreak in the previous movie. How could this be? But still, like, you've seen it, already from the beginning. The status quo that was established in the previous movie, once again, gets butt fucked. Sure, it's in a more direct way, but so was Alice controlling the Army of the Crows. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that what was established that was going to happen, got basically destroyed in the span of 5 minutes tops, and now we're doing a completely different story. And spoiler alert, that's also what's going to happen in between this movie and the final chapter. So don't get too attached to the ending, by the way.
Now, to be fair, let's not spoil it, because it needs to be seen to be believed. But wait a minute. This is exactly how the fourth movie started. Yep, we're reenacting that.
A bunch of umbrellas.
Just in a different angle and with a couple more colors. Oh no, Jesus has come to rip the cinders.
I don't. Call me crazy, Joker, but I don't think we're actually in Tokyo.
Let me put it like this: the answer is yes and no.
And everything in between.
So what, Jova? I don't think we're in Texas anymore.
Jesus, that one zombie girl is apparently very persistent.
Wow, this editing is atrocious.
Oh, her mouth looks like the 2021 Mortal Kombat Melina.
Also, very handy that this area had that gun actually be a real-life thing, which is funny given what we find out later, but I digress.
Can you do any of this in the games?
Man, some of these people look like they walked right out of a Persona game.
Okay, Paul, I get it. Your wife is so cool, she can, even without powers, with just a chain and a pistol, can hold on this entire crowd.
He will not stop until the entire world is bowing to her.
Yeah, that's the thing. He just won't go away.
Well,
Remember,
that's the thing, though. Haven't the pair's more recent movies not been doing that well?
I haven't seen Monster Hunter yet, so I cannot tell.
I haven't heard of a Monster Hunter sequel, so you might be onto something. But
No,
remember,
I've been showing a previous movie. The next project of Paul Lewis Ernst with Mila Jovovich is a protagonist. It's an original story.
But yeah, if I recall correctly, you might be onto something, Dibs, that their movies haven't been doing as well.
I've just checked, Jova. Monster Hunter cost $60 million. And bear in mind, it has the caveat of being released in December 2020. It made $44.5 million.
Ooh, that being said,
pandemic. Again, it was the extremely early days of vaccines coming out, but still.
Also, I've heard that apparently nowadays in modern times, a movie needs to make like 2.5 times its budget as opposed to just 2 times. Also,
what is that JoJo walking? Fuck off, movie.
Again with Los Plagos.
That's a JoJo reference.
Come on, Alice. No one-liner. Like, seriously.
Yeah, remember, guys, at this point, Alice doesn't have her superpowers.
Look, what are you talking about, Teo?
She's just that cool.
Exactly, Teo. Exactly, Teo. You just answered your own question. Why would she need a one-liner? She's just so cool, she doesn't even need one-liners.
Schwarzenegger was so cool and had one-liners. I want the complete
package. But Arnold is no Mila Jovovich. Easy, Teo.
I mean, I guess I probably would more Arnold than her. No offense, Paul.
It's just too easy. It's too easy. These jokes are too easy.
Alright, actually, I was just looking up Mila Jovovich.
Mila Jovovich, yes.
But before she married Anderson, she was married twice before. Her second husband was Luc Besson, but that marriage only lasted like 2 years. And there was one that was kind of where she was married for 2 months to a guy named Sean Andrews, who Sean Andrews was 21 and Miller was 16.
I love this one. So yeah, if you work at Umbrella, just be wary that your desk apparently may or may not sink in and out of the ground. And also, yeah, they're dead.
Yeah, don't. You better stipulate policy about life.
I'm sorry,
yeah,
but
I won't go too much into that because.
oh, that's handy.
Yes, Paul. I saw the Matrix. So this is not as impressive.
This is 2012, Paul. By this point, the whole reference to the Matrix trend had died
That's the
off
thing,
so
Pedro.
far.
Oh, hi, Ada. What is...
What's pronounced
Okay,
Ada?
again, out of nowhere, Ada Wong just shows up out of fucking nowhere. It's cool that she got her, her traditional Chinese dress, but... how do you... Fuck it.
How do
I don't
you even...
know. Oh wait, never mind.
I do not
Alice
recall.
did-
I do not
Okay,
recall.
to be fair, Alice did work for Umbrella, so I guess we can assume she knew about
Okay,
her from that.
Jova, that's on the same level of Cheetah knowing literally everyone in the world, hi Wesker, in Xenogears. Yes, it is a good universe justification, it doesn't make it less bullshit.
Why did you do that? You should know that wouldn't stop it.
Because, Jova. Because.
But yes, the twist is that Wesker might actually be on our side this time.
But he just died. And yeah, it was Ada who killed the entire room of employees.
Okay, I know Ada's cool, but seriously, she was surrounded from all angles by guards and not one was able to tag her before
Apparently.
she killed them all?
There's also okay, I forgot actually how this movie handles it, but there's always the frustrating thing about Ada. You never, because her entire shtick is to be duplicitous, and never telling you the truth. You never know exactly what her goals are supposed to be.
Oh, wait, here's some explanation.
So yeah,
Okay.
they bother to actually trying to be cheeky and recreate, trying to justify a bit the video games to be something like in universe, a simulation where Mila Jovovich had to survive, using elements scattered throughout, as weapons and resources. Cute.
Yeah, the testing floor is legit 300 feet high, enough to simulate, like, an actual living environment.
So basically, the danger room from the X-Men.
Which is, again, funny because Sean Roberts was in X-Men.
I mean, it's a very passing cameo at the very beginning of the first movie, Java. I wouldn't qualify it as, being properly in the X-Men movies.
Okay, so apparently the reason Umbrella has all these facilities is so that they can test them to sell to different governments to show how effective the virus is. Yeah, there's just one little problem with that. The world has ended! We're kind of in the middle of an apocalypse. At what point would countries benefit from using the T virus as a weapon against each other?
For the record, I know that Kratos has reviewed all of these movies, but haven't seen any of these reviews yet. I'll probably do it after we're done with Final Chapter.
That is a very good.
Curiosity.
That is a very good question, Jova. But have you noticed how hot Mila Jovovich looks?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can we have both? Show how Mila is cool, and at the same time, tell us good explanations.
Well, I don't know, Paul. Ada may be a threat, because some people may find her hotter.
Also, I know that I'm basically at stage 2 bargain at this point, but still.
Although I'll be honest.
Stage 2, bargaining.
So I think we may be at the Arctic, and yes, nobody has ever escaped from this facility before.
And again, another one of these stupid facilities buried underground, like the Underminer from The Incredibles helped Umbrella.
Wait, hold on. Are you guys actually referencing Code Veronica now with the whole ice layer?
Code Veronica had a layer, more in the mountains. It was a repurposed medieval castle.
Oh wait, never mind. No, it's more like the base from Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, the one where the Chris's companion sacrifices himself.
Why would you want to reference Resident Evil 6?
Apparently battleships are all frozen in the apocalypse too, but...
Project Cross Zone 2 wanted to reference Resident Evil 6, and I don't know why either.
Well, code word. It was what's current, and companies seem to like to do that. Hey, Luther! He's back from
Yeah,
the previous
Luther
movie.
survived, he's back. And here's Barry Burton and Leon. Out of nowhere, they just show up.
Now, granted,
Please
to give
clap.
them credit, they got very good lookalikes for Barry and Leon.
I don't understand why Leon has a beard, though.
It's a bit of an aftershave.
Not even
and
in
whatnot.
Resident Evil 6 or the CGI movies, after all the washed out stuff that Leon had, he never grew the beard of sorrow.
I wouldn't say... Well, he did by Vendetta, to be fair.
He really didn't.
No. He does have stubble on.
Not of this caliber.
I don't think
Well,
it's that big a beard, but regardless, though.
We talked about the actors who auditioned. What about the actual actor who plays Leon Dweebs?
Well, one thing I was going to mention is that, I'm surprised that they're giving if the plan was to dub her over anyway, they gave her a lot of lines. Most of them are on camera, and B, Sally's been busy. Sally's keeping busy at least. But anyway, as for who they did cast, Leon S. Kennedy is played by Johan Erb, an Estonian-American actor.
Okay.
And here's the stupid thing.
Whose first role in a film at least was a Mugatu bodyguard in Zoolander, and his most recent things have been just like those cheapo films that no one really cares about.
So yeah, again, now while they get the looks of Barry and Leon done pretty well, the problem is they make it that they're working for Wesker.
Which is immensely stupid. Leon, you can make an argument because he wasn't that much in contact with Wesker, but Barry, if you want to keep at least a shadow of a backstory of Resident Evil 1, Barry should hate the guts out of Wesker at this point.
And as for Barry, he's played by Kevin Durand, who most of us have seen as the Blob in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah,
That's another tie to the X-Men film series, I guess.
A more prevalent one, admittedly.
And, strike depending.
Why was she looking at the camera like that? But yes, it turns out our main bad guy who's controlling everything is the Red Queen. Remember her from the first...
Played by a different child actress, Bo.
And he's going to be in the upcoming new Planet of the Apes movie.
Okay.
Remember her from the first movie? She's back, despite supposedly being killed in that first movie. That being said, here's the dumb thing. I know, imagine something dumb in a Paul W. Sanderson Resident Evil movie, but supposedly they will suggest that the Red Queen's plan is the annihilation of all mankind.
Can you stop turning to the camera?
Hey, she said the line from the first movie. Starting to see what I mean? That this movie loves to pull the nostalgia card.
Yeah.
But yes, here's the dumb thing.
Oh my god, enough with these.
So the stupid thing is, apparently the Red Queen's motivation is the annihilation of all mankind, which, yeah, if you even care an inkling about the first movie, you'll know it's horse hockey. Because while as brutal as she is, her goal is the maintenance of mankind.
Not
the
just
reason,
that. Yeah, go on, sorry.
The reason she gassed, also gun disc, that's actually kind of innovative, but the reason she gassed the hive was to keep the T-virus from getting out. That is why she opted to kill. But here, nope, now apparently she's the one planning to kill all of mankind.
Also, if you saw the third movie, by all technical accounts, she almost has won already. What's there to complain?
Oh, God. And, speaking of the third movie, guess what, Tio? You know how we mistook the White Queen for the Red Queen?
Yeah.
But it turns out that they're different? Well, the novelization of the final chapter actually reveals that the White Queen was a guise, a different personality slot of the Red Queen. They were actually one and the same, apparently.
Sure.
Why they do that, I have no idea. Again, to give them credit, they got Leon's look and costume down pretty well. Aside from
Very
the stubble.
too, but he looks a bit younger than he should be. Like already in the first game, he had some gray hair spot, and already was technically older than Chris and Jill at that time, So by all accounts, at this point, he should be slightly older.
So basically, we're on a bit of a world venture, essentially. All these different areas from across the globe are simulated. So we get to go to different places across the globe.
Again, I get what they were trying to do. Essentially, the computer is creating the equivalent of video game levels for the characters to, having to traverse.
All right, so in that case, dun 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 dun.
Oh my God, another Machini.
Alright, okay, as much as sure some voice purists would appreciate keeping the actress from the games to dub over Ada Wong's live action actress here. Why did they do it in the first place?
Like I said, they really couldn't just find, an actress with the proper ethnicity that, could just be just fine, in acting for the role.
Okay, was Lee's acting not good enough? Also, this product placement. I guess to be fair, it's technically
like that stops some performances in this series.
Also, she's having headshots with 2 machine guns.
Mountain Dew.
They're promoting an antivirus software.
It's funny. Laugh. Also, Ada, where is your grappling hook? You probably should stop with the 3D.
Oh, yeah, this is probably another movie that could be seen in 3D.
Much like, remember, 2012, but the 3D craze was still a thing at this time. Man, this mercenary mode round sucks. Can we change the level? Also, Jesus, this music. Let me check who's the composer for this.
Tom and Andy.
Oh, again he returns, and much like the score of a previous movie, I'm not impressed. That's a terrible one-liner. Seriously, Mila, work on these.
Okay,
You're fired!
Okay.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's a gas explosion.
Well, Jill, I guess now we have an answer.
But then they'll get accused of ripping Arnie off.
Oh my God.
Like, if you have to rip off someone, chances are you're gonna rip off someone anyway, so might as well do for the great stuff.
What Theo just said.
Okay, even if we didn't go with that, I'm pretty sure there are a ton of other puns you could have made off
Why
of
not
that
just
anyway.
say, did he call for a taxi or something?
Budweiser, seriously?
Budweiser, Pepsi Max.
To be fair, like I said, Capcom had a sort of a, partnership deal with Pepsi in 2009 for Bionic Commando, so I'm not too surprised that it shows up also here.
And now let's... Okay, now they literally have name-dropped Las Plagas.
So again, you're telling me that the events of Resident Evil 4 happen in some kind of fashion? Off-screen to boot. Like...
If it's even that... at least in Afterlife we could just say, oh, maybe it mutated to that point, even though it was obvious Anderson was just paying an homage to Resident Evil 5, but nope. In fact, this movie actually does pay some homage to Resident Evil 4. It's got to. Leon's in it.
Also, in terms of the first movie, it also has the idea of the strike team of Leon Barry, and Luther. to actually go in and having to go out in a set timer.
What?
Light.
I
What
cannot
is
see,
this?
Perry.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, I don't know if this came
Okay.
out before or after Resident Evil
All,
6, but...
Paul, you get it wrong. Wolfenstein is a different franchise.
Okay, this actually is in line with Resident Evil 6, which had the Sea Javieres, insect-like beings who were intelligent enough to use gunplay and everything. That being said, that's why I wonder if this came out before or after 6, because...
Okay, I'm just gonna. I'll check for you.
6 was around this time.
Retribution came out in September 2012.
I love that!
Resident
Sorry,
Evil 6 came out in October.
I love that. So, Alice asked, why does nobody notice that the sky is too low? And Ada says, trust me, when the simulations hit, nobody's looking at the sky. But that also begs the question, where do they get all these people to run the simulations? And wait a minute, we're in Raccoon City. Doesn't this seem familiar from a past scene? That actually begs the question, how do they do cleanup on these for every time?
Yeah, it's like that line in the first Bioshock. You can build the best
Yep.
utopia in the world cloning, of course. Yeah, you can have the best utopia in the world where no one has to work a day of their life, but someone has to still clean the toilets.
So, yeah, all these people you see in these simulations are clones. Again, Umbrella sees the need to make gigantic life simulators, use all these clones just to simulate the virus, when I'm pretty sure the Raccoon City outbreak would have been a good enough test for it, honestly.
Just for
And, like-
collecting data that they really, really don't actually need. Not in the sense that they don't deserve it or anything. It's superfluous. I'm pretty sure they're plenty of knowledgeable about scenarios like these already.
Again, the world is literally in an apocalypse caused by the T virus.
The world is over. Game over. What's the point anymore?
I know people joke that even at the lowest of times, mankind will be all about war, but no, the fact that the apocalypse has supposedly more or less just wiped people out, apparently to a degree where somehow Umbrella are still worried about profits, but I digress. Why would anyone be concerned with using the T-virus on other places?
But
anything...
Jova, the chart said...
The chart said that Mila Jovovich must be treated as a goddess? Is that what the chart said?
Wait a
Probably.
minute. Maybe the girl's in the closet.
Let me guess, Paul made the chart.
Get out of the closet, Mila.
Nope. Okay. That's
a
actually
good
Closet
a
is
neat,
fake.
glass.
That's a good fake out admittedly.
and a neat throwback to the itchy tasty zombie from the first game who pops out of the closet. But what's this?
Is she
Remember,
the
her
empty child from Doctor Who? Are you my mommy?
her clone had a daughter who was a bit confused that her mom looks different.
Yeah, I
but...
forgot about this. So, of course, Mila Jovovich will have to learn how to be a single parent.
Wait, again? Didn't we kind of already do this with the girl in Resident Evil 2?
Like this is a case where it's even more egregious than anything. Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but I get the feeling Anderson wanted to do a take on Aliens with this movie.
Yeah, Aliens was one of the first that premiered this kind of thing.
Let's see, a badass female character having to look after a long-lost
Like I
child.
said, the road is the one that popularized the most the concept.
But trust me, this one has a lot of takes that remind me of Aliens.
Yeah, I can see that. I forgot, who's the other member of the strike team alongside Leon, Barry, and Luther? Let me check.
A man.
Nuts?
Handsome man.
Also, remind me, Dwibs, so this came out after the Resident Evil
No,
6?
a few months before.
It came out a month before.
Weird. So did Paul get a bit of 6's script? Because this one has stuff that feels like it would be a reference to Resident Evil 6, which, okay, to be fair, the games did get more action-packed because they were taking cues from the Anderson movies. That being said, even before the Anderson movies, they were already starting to ramp up the action by the likes of 2 and 3. Especially Code Veronica. So it's not like it was completely all that. So hey, kids, if ever...
Ariana Engineer is the name of the actress playing...
Hey! Well, would you look at that? There's Michelle Rodriguez. And hey, look, Dwibs,
Colin
it's
Salmon.
James. Yep, from the first movie. Except these are evil clones of them and Carlos.
Which have taken Jill hostage, apparently.
Oh no, remember, Jill's leading them. Because she's controlled.
I mean, to be fair, it's Umbrella, they really don't give a shit.
They really brought all these actors back from the first movie.
Did I... Jeremy, did I ask you in the past what you thought of Colin Salmon's American accent?
Yes, you did. I guess
Well,
he's...
It's been 10 years, so...
I guess he's fine here, yeah, but... Yeah, again, more nostalgia for those who liked the first movie, you know, back when there was still hope for things. They brought back Rain and James.
No hope,
Wow,
no dreams.
I don't think the fourth guy in the rescue team is even credited, at least on Wikipedia. Probably IMDb, but I forgot what his name is supposed to be.
Also, fun fact in regards to Leon.
Yes.
If you're wondering why Leon's characterization doesn't match up with the source material, that's because he was apparently
there's her
going to be
grappling
an
hook.
original. Apparently, he was going to be an original character called Magnus.
So
So-
why didn't they just, you know,
And also,
reshot his rescripted his lines?
And also, considering they dubbed over Ada's actress in this movie, they were going to redub over the actor for Leon because of his Finnish accent, but they didn't.
I'm pretty confident that as actress is perfectly capable, you know. I really don't
Well,
understand
that's-
why they did this. Again, much like with Fuck Off, much like with the rest of these movie series, it's just pointless fan service.
What even is that?
You know,
Also,
I'm surprised that the micro missiles are not T-shaped.
Also, Ada literally Looney Tunes her ways out of that.
Yeah.
Also, Ada gave Alice her grappling gun because, in her own words, the less I have on me, the better.
Not just that, it's yet another case where, you know, Mila Jovovich's character is so badass, you know, the other characters can only bow to her magnificence.
I mean, I'll give it credit. They've been kind of giving that same treatment to Ada in this movie so far.
You know what? That's
Just
fair.
admit that this is just a giant love letter series to his wife. You know, it might have gone down better like that.
I
Again,
know, right?
Sharon, I refer you to the text answer I gave you on the chat. So let's
Yeah,
just.
but
And that
we
guy
didn't
is
consent to see him.
dead. Yeah, the
Oh
split.
no, not.
Red shirt. Also, it's funny, Dweeb, that you mentioned that apparently Leon's character was someone who was supposed to be called Magnus, because a character in the Tales of series is literally called Leon Magnus.
Well,
Also-
that may be true, Tale, but I don't think anything can ever top Edge Maverick.
And look at
course.
that. There's a good version of Rain, one who isn't a dick.
You'll like this, Shiroi. There's an RPG where the main character is literally called Edge Maverick.
And he spends a third of it moaning very poorly.
Yeah.
Also, get the irony, the good version of Rain actually hates guns, because she's the opposite of Rain.
This is the same vibe of that image where the Doom Marine teaches Rapunzel how to use a gun.
Also, just point and shoot. I'm sorry, wasn't that the advice Jill gave to that reporter in the second movie right before she got mauled to death by those
It's the
zombie
nostalgia
kids?
factor, Jova. This movie clearly has not much of a substance, so we need to compensate with that.
I haven't seen that image and I kind of need it.
Don't worry, I'm providing it.
Oh, we got Michelle Rodriguez. We're gonna use Michelle Rodriguez. Which I kind of get. Michelle Rodriguez was... I think she had made a comeback at this point thanks to the Fast and Furious movies. And now we are in Russia.
Navias zdrowie. I wish I had vodka with me now. Unfortunately,
Which-
cannot drink right
Which,
now.
if I recall correctly, there's a Moscow level in Resident Evil 6 as well, so...
Yeah, well, okay, it's more Eastern. It's more throughout Eastern Europe. Oh, look, it's a liquor. It's more throughout Eastern Europe. That's why the Nemesis clone is called Ustanak. It means rebellion. I think in Hungarian. I forgot which specific language.
I don't think these movies are bad enough to waste perfectly good vodka on.
Well, they just did, Shirway. They plundered a liquor into a liquor store, and it's such
Yeah.
a waste, even if it's a hologram.
Your movie is not good enough for you to waste alcohol on.
Like, trust me, Shiroi, if you're a Resident Evil fan, it probably is worth that vodka. And I don't even drink.
I was hoping to actually do a drinking game of, for the final chapter where, I get a shot every time, Mila Jovovich is so cool, or, it's
You would-
so much more loser, but
you would
I
die.
don't have the alcohol right now.
God forbid you do a drink every...
Morbid.
And now it's time for a car chase with them. Zombies riding motorcycles, yo.
I mean, if we had card games on that, why not?
Sure. Although 2012, I think Arc V ended at this, or at least the year before.
Oh,
Hey, at least we have Leon and Barry do some proper kick-assing in this movie. I mean, we kind of did it before with the turret section, but, also in the presence of the goddess Jovovich herself.
I know, like, amazingly. Well, okay. Like, they did kind of do that with Chris, but yes. We're actually letting the other characters finally do something despite being in the presence of our Lord and Savior, Alice. Sorry, Yanis Prospero. Hey, speaking of which, I wonder if we'll get an interaction between Jill and Leon, given that, going off of the continuity, they're supposed to be partners in this universe.
And he was supposed to be reported dead.
And remember...
Hey, that was a better one-liner, but...
that was a perfectly good Rolls Royce you've wrecked.
Zombies on motorcycles? Sure.
Again, if we can have card games on those, everything's fair game.
Yeah, like I said, sure. Why not?
Why did the motorcycle just explode?
Yeah, I was about to ask, why did he just explode randomly like that? Oh my god. Yeah, I will also say, probably
back.
also because it's nostalgia, but I will say at the very least, because of the advancement in technology, the leakers look so much better than in the first movie. Or at the very least, where is that? Fuck off.
Alright, since this is Resident Evil and it's relevant, Resi 6 on PS4 is £8 now. Is it worth it?
You might want to wait a bit more.
Possibly.
Like in general, the game gets discounted even more regularly, so you might as well just be on the lookout
So it
for.
literally ends tomorrow.
Waves, it's a horror game, so obviously, but by the time this is gonna get published, at the end of October, it's gonna get on another sale. So look out
Yeah,
for that.
there's gonna be a Halloween sale where you can probably take advantage of that.
Pretty sure Capcom annually do Halloween sales.
And like
for the
you said,
Resident
games
Evil
like
series.
games released around the time, like Resident Evil 6, which is also a remaster for PS4, gets on huge discounts very easily, like the first Dragon's Dogma, for example.
What the hell is hentai versus evil?
That's Cyrillic, Dwibs.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop that. Moving on.
Also, I love how, Alice's interactions with Luther as being very minimal, despite the fact that, they've been knowing each other for a bit at this point.
This isn't really him, though. Aren't these clones?
No.
These is
no.
actually
These
the
are
rescue
the actual
team.
guys.
Yeah, the entire point, Dweebs, is that Alice has been stuck in this facility after being rescued, and now this rescue team, which included Ada, Leon, Barry, and Luther, has come to actually extract her.
Now that being said, while I know that they let Ada do some cool stuff, am I the only one who finds it a little Mary Stuart that, of course, Ada gives Alice some of her most iconic gadgets, like
yes, I
the
noticed that
glasses and the
beforehand.
grappling hook?
Well, Jova, Ada.
That wasn't really. It's not really Mary Sue so much as here I have my stuff.
Well, Jova, I mean, she's doing her a favor because we can't all be as awesome and amazing as Alice now, can we?
Also, can you check, Dweebs, if they actually filmed in Russia, since it probably was cheaper to do? Oh, so Leon actually mentions that he doesn't really want it to work for Wesker and it was kind of, circumstances forced him.
I love that line, though.
Okay,
I don't...
filming included Toronto, Times Square, Tokyo, and Red Square in Moscow.
I love that line. I don't work for Wesker. I just do assignments for him. That's working for him, dingus.
That's semantics, Drova. Come on.
Lord. I mean, I do get the feeling that was a last-minute added line, given
I'll
how,
take that over, not saying anything and just saying that Leon works happily, Galaki.
Yeah,
Maybe
there
they
is
work
that.
freelance. I don't know.
That would be Frank West instead from that Rising Shiri. He has covered wars,
Again, if you have seen Resident Evil 4, then that kind of is a good for a laugh. Seeing as how Wesker actually tried to have Leon killed in that game.
She said Biohazard.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the Japanese
said
title.
Yeah,
I
she
clapped.
said it earlier as well.
Are the movies called Biohazard in Japan?
Yeah.
I think so, because that's
No.
the title.
Oh,
It's
the
the title of the
movies.
franchise in general in Japan.
No,
So I guess even.
No, I know that. I'm just asking if these movies are. Sorry,
That's what I
Shiro.
mean. Even stuff like foreign movies would actually be called like that.
All right.
in Japan,
Yes.
very
I'm sorry. Yes, Shiro.
That's just one for you weebs out there.
Uh-huh.
I shall look up the Japanese movie poster right now.
It's like the Ryuga Gotoku movie is because I don't think it was exported properly. It had a subbed version, I think, but I forgot if it was called Yakuza or Like a Dragon, especially because the DVDs have kind of gone out of print at this point, unfortunately.
I will say this. I have to give Anderson credit. He got Leon done better than Welcome to Raccoon City, the movie, did.
Whoa.
Congrats.
I guess Welcome to Raccoon City is more of a disappointment because, instead of bees, they had a chance of a fresh start. That's more
And
faithful.
she's dead. Good Rain is dead.
Yeah, I can definitely tell the influence from aliens. Barry, come on, man, you tanked much worse. Get up.
Now, to the movie's credit, this does not kill Barry. Also ass shot.
Like, Paul, buddy.
No.
Amanda.
You see that? That's the future's ass.
Okay, I'm sorry, Paul, but if I have to also, not play devil's advocate, but be an asshole for a second, it's not even a great ass. I'm sorry.
I love this line. Oh, no, you see, you're more important than she is. No, that's not true. See how selfless Alice is, guys? She doesn't consider herself better. She cares about everyone.
There's a TV series that recently kind of started to reference, and there's a quote that I think embarks this behavior better. Get out the cross, we need the wood.
Hopefully now Joe will appreciate her even
Well,
more.
I'm only saying this because Paul shoved it on my face, but I can tell you, I don't really appreciate her ass. I'm sorry.
Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, it's a good character trait to have. It's just, of course, Alice embodies all the good and everything. But wait, here are the bosses: James, Spade, Rain, and Carlos, evil clones.
What a thrill with darkness
darkness
And silence in the night. What a thrill.
Okay. As much as I appreciate Metal Gear Solid the musical,
on ice.
Actually, do we have a Metal Gear Solid musical yet?
I'm pretty sure there is of some kind.
In Japan, most likely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think even all the vocal songs in the entirety of the Metal Gear series can be enough to make a whole musical. So we need to
Honestly,
pick up some
also, if
original
there is,
ones.
I actually want young Ocelot with actual, ballet sleepers.
Yes.
What would be good pun names for the songs?
A weapon to surpass.
Yeah.
Calling to the night.
Solid snaking my way to your heart.
Yes.
Otter conning for you.
A gun with one bullet. Oh wait, that's a quote from Faith.
What, I've come back to
Oh?
Russian roulette?
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so
I am the
Becky...
boss of you.
That package
Okay.
was the one that the child had.
Remember, Becky got taken by the liquor. Now, normally that shouldn't mean she's dead. Like, liquors normally kill.
No, this movie. Okay, this movie. If this movie wanted to have the child character be killed, they would probably have no problems of doing that on screen. So having to do that on screen clearly means that she's still alive.
Like, remember, they did have child zombies and everything.
Where did Ada go?
And keep in mind,
She's
though...
been remained trapped under the rubble in the suburban house that was bombarded by Jill, but as it showcased, she's starting to get out.
That being said, also, of course, Alice deems that one girl is so important. Keep in mind, as far as we know, Alice is the key to saving the world, because it's
course
something
she
in her
is.
blood and all that,
Of
as we
course she
established.
is.
Remember, we established in Extinction that, of course, it's in her blood.
Bruce, Alice is the key to all of this.
Yes.
But of course, she's willing to risk the whole world
'Cause
for
she's the-
this one. She's willing to risk the whole world for this one girl who, for all she knows, is just a clone.
Also,
And
can
I
I
guess-
talk about the fact? Sorry, go on.
I guess she does care about clones as well, although she didn't seem too sad that her clone army was
The
taken
movies
out.
never really raised that much.
I can-
The
sorry.
dilemma.
I can imagine in doing production, Paul W.S. Anderson doing something similar to what George Lucas did in production of The Phantom Menace. Mila Jovovich is the key to all this, because she's the best character the franchise has ever had.
Also, yeah,
I mean, at least George Lucas didn't, basically take existing characters and dumb them down so he could put one of his family members on screen.
yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Dibs on that. That being said, this is not how lickers act. No, they do not put their victims into nests completely alive, often
Fuck
still.
off.
This is
movie.
legit just Anderson ripping off aliens now.
I get it that killing the brain is actually the weak spot when you need to do, but Alice, you have a knife.
But I want to do it with my bare hands.
Did they forgot that she has a knife?
Baby, they just wanted to show that with her
Or
love,
maybe-
she ripped through the nest.
Maybe she didn't want to accidentally stab the child.
Oh, wait, hold on. There's someone else in that other nest.
Losh.
Who's
Oh,
Also-
that could come in handy.
Can we talk about the fact that about the design of the umbrella grants? Because while the design in itself is cool enough to be intimidating and everything, I don't get why the long trench coat, which makes them look like more Gestapo agents. Because
Oh, hey!
the standard umbrella, uniform from the Barry Burton's signature revolver. I forgot what it's called. But
Magnum.
well, no, it actually has a proper name. The
Samurai
gun.
Edge.
I think that is. But again, the standard design. There's Ada, holding by hand and gunpoint by Michelle Rodriguez clone. But again, the standard design for the Umbrella mooks tend to be your traditional SWAT kind of body armor, and cargo pants. Nothing too out of the ordinary. But for this movie, instead, they have these long trench coat that really makes them look like Gestapo agents. Like, I don't
guess...
really need those to understand that Umbrella people are evil, Thanks, movie. I really needed to see this.
Wait, hold on. The scene's not over yet. Oh, he got to do something, and now let's just repeat him dying. How did he survive those first few shots?
He didn't. I don't think he even had the stove like Clint Eastwood told you.
So yeah, Barry Burton is dead.
Thanks, movie. You brought you brought in the movie such an iconic character just to kill him off like this.
This is silly. They literally have the clones coming off a rack now.
Which in the spiral, he's also shaped like a DNA spiral, Jova. It's clever, don't you know?
I'm sorry, this is so silly at this point. So, they made more clones of Alice, which, again, if Resident Evil Afterlife is anything to go by, should have all her powers intact. Yet they're using clones of her to just play house for simulation. Why? Just why?
Because Mila Jovovich is amazing, so obviously we need more of her. Didn't you learn this this lesson from Afterlife?
Paul, I get it when you probably want a harem of clothes of your wife. That's not really possible. Make a good story instead.
Sure, I'm curious.
Also, look, Teal, the liquor's still kicking.
Fair enough.
Are you my mother? I am now. Yes, don't you see?
Considering your usual thing, how come you're not telling Paul to get therapy? I'm surprised.
I think a lot of the people. Wait, why?
Well, because I get that he loves his wife, like you said, but this is starting to get a bit too much, don't you think?
It's just a movie. Let the man do his thing. Maybe he should not call it Resident Evil, but
Honestly, maybe these movies are their therapy.
That's what apparently the movie that he's working on currently is doing. An original.
Look,
it's still a tale about Mila Jovovich, but is doing cool shit. But it's an original tale, not a licensed.
Looks like I missed something.
wait. So his entire catalog is just look at how much I love my wife.
No, not the Reeboks, not Norton.
Starting with Resident Evil movies, Shiri. The ones we did before, like Mortal Kombat, or the one we saw last year, Event Horizon, did not.
You know, my guy, there's a reason PGA is frowned upon,
Yes,
Also, James, to answer your question, Barry Burton took out James Spade,
but he got killed in the process.
So yeah, he's dead. Meanwhile, the Licker apparently put the girl Becky into a nest, which is not how Lickers works. This is just Anderson aping aliens. Now they're escaping us. Right, basically they're escaping the base now after they've blown it.
Let me put it this way, Shira. There's a difference between loving your wife and wanting everybody in the world to pay attention to how much you love your wife.
Hey, look!
We know you love your wife, my guy.
But do you love her too? Because that's the goal here, apparently.
She's not my wife.
No, platonically, platonically, he wants everybody in the world to love her platonically.
Okay,
Shiroi.
you guys watch those movies. What is the Fast and Furious movie with the sequence on thin ice?
Oh, that's
in
Fate
8.
of the Furious.
Okay,
Fast and Furious 8.
With the stupid submarine. God.
Tio, wait till you watch Fast X.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, they went to space in Fast 9. What more can they do?
I'll just say
Sure.
Apparently, starting with 8, I think the series might have started to run on fumes. And man, 10 has some of the most split reactions I've seen to a Fast and Furious movie. No. I mean, I actually really like 5, and 7, I'd say, is hands down the best. The thing is, though, I do wonder if they really did have proper plans for
Hold
after
on.
7. Oh, somebody saw Code Veronica and wanted to do the fake out with that too,
I knew I
see.
should have. I made that wrong turn and double quirky.
I don't know.
Speaking of submarines, there it is.
We all live in an umbrella submarine.
Fair enough.
Well, hey, you didn't think we weren't going to have one final battle.
Sunday Diver.
Hey, speaking of which, for as concerned as Alice seemed about Jill, she hasn't exactly been trying that hard to
Also-
break Jill out of her control.
Luther, you want to put your hood on? I get the idea your head is freezing off. Same goes for you, Mila. Everyone should, but I think Luther is more affected by the cold. Also, I will say this. You just know that these are not good representation of the games because for all these movies, I don't think we had a single rescue helicopter that was supposed to get the heroes but got shot before it could land.
I guess to be fair, in Code Veronica, they escaped by jets.
I'm talking about these movies.
Well, I mean, in terms of... Well, okay, to be fair, I don't think we've had...
3 had one, 4 had one, I think also 5 had one, 6 definitely had one.
Right, you're talking about the games, okay.
In relation to the games, these being adaptations of those, yes.
Like I said, they're taking cues from Code Veronica here, so yes, that's
Also,
their
Ada is probably the one that's freezing more out of all of these. Oh yes, Leon, act like you actually know Ada in this continuity.
I'll be
I'm
honest.
shrugging.
Oh, this bit.
Why?
Because.
Because you're a clone? You're afraid of the degeneracy of your tissues?
Sure, why not?
Ow.
But
it's like the old man's death in what's it called, the Alone in the Dark movie, which gets shot and he's like, oh.
hey, Alice, not for nothing, but you could have killed Jill, and you do know Jill is not in her right mind, right? But wait till you see how Los Plagos works
Oh
on
my
Michelle
God.
Rodriguez.
Tomb Raider 2013, even if it's not released at this point, is calling you back. You stole Lara's new weapons. That's not really how the parasite works, but whatever.
No, it is not.
Ugh.
Lovely.
Oh my god, this is just as stupid like in Hellraiser 3 where Pinhead spits the bullets from his mouth.
What even is this music?
And yeah, again, the score, just like in the previous movie, these duo of composers cannot make a good score for saving their lives. And I know that the franchise doesn't, even at this point, did not really have that many iconic themes that they could use potentially, but at least one or two to reference from the game, for fuck's sake.
What are you talking about, Tio? The film we're talking about this. The series had plenty of iconic themes, like the one in the director's cut where you go downstairs.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, that one.
The group of farting brasses.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how throughout all of these, Alice hasn't, given a single attempt into actually trying to extract the parasite, and she's just going for the jugular.
Well, okay, to be fair, she can't let her get the parasite if her target is constantly moving around trying to hit her.
Paul W. Sanderson showcased that he has at least seen, if not played, Resident Evil 5. There is a way to do it.
The weird thing is that in this scene, she has the exact hairdo that Jill has before, Resident Evil 5.
Mm-hmm.
again, just if you wanted to have Mila Jovovich in Resident Evil, at least have her play Jill. Sure, it might have been a bit silly having Jill be that overpowered, but at least it would be Jill, one of the main protagonists of the franchise.
Funnily enough, Tom and Andy would not return in the next movie.
I don't remember how the scoring that one was, but
The guy they got was Paul Haslinger in the next one.
ow. I think Alice was about to go full.
He's mainly known for Underworld, funnily enough.
Oh goody! So I can imagine what kind of score will be in that. Since I'm more, knowledgeable about that franchise. But I love how I forgot what I wanted to say. Ow. Also, come on, Luther, no basketball puns. This is not Mortal Kombat, Paul. You stop doing that.
I guess Paul wanted to say, hey guys, remember when I did Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Bonk.
How sad is it that his movie is still the best live-action one? Like,
Ow.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a really enjoyable movie. I'm not trying to say it's bad necessarily. It's just
bad,
that,
but to be fair, there's even despite everything, there's still not that much competition right now.
it's one of those things
But
where
yeah,
it's one of those things where the 1995 movie is really good.
Just bumped her on the head.
The 1995 movie is really good, but we could do better, and yet for some reason we can't get that.
Also, at the very least, yes, we finally found, a fight where Alice not only does not win magically in the first 2 minutes, but she actually gets defeated, technically.
And by one of the actual characters from the games.
Hooray.
Back to your sugar daddy.
Fighter, mommy! I mean, again, going back to the original movie,
I
if
know
anything...
you're inside her.
Wait, now you want to terminate her? Why didn't you kill her before when you had...
It's an AI
Chance
drama.
after
You
chance.
expected that to reason logically? So yeah, only now Alice actually gets the idea of doing what should have been done a long time ago. Again, in Resident Evil 5, it's so, easy for you to do, guess what you're supposed to do.
That is not how the parasite device worked in the games, but again, we're trying to
Stop
rip
it.
off... trying to
Oh.
rip off aliens, so sure, why not?
Are we done?
Nope.
I guess not.
We're only,
Sound
done,
effect.
we're only done when Paul says we're done.
There's one more movie after.
Oh my
this.
god, enough with the Mortal Kombat X-rays.
You see,
And Lufer's dead.
you see,
Very
Shiro.
anticlimactically too.
You see, Shiro. Maybe if you said you love her, maybe he'll stop making these movies.
No.
Ever thought of that?
Experience told us that he just will not stop.
You know...
I'd rather be watching Lufer, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's a good show from what I've seen.
Also, yes, again, to be fair, yes, cool that Luther was not the first to die, but still, what a kind of an anticlimactic way to. It's just a pressure point that stops his heart.
Keep
It
in
is
mind,
good,
they made a big deal about him surviving at the end of the last film, only to kill him off in this film. And oh look, Alice also had her heart stopped, so that means she dies, right? Well, no, because, well, up yours, said the
Jova.
writer.
Not
She's
even
just-
being dead can
She's
kill Alice.
just that good.
But
Exactly.
don't you see, even when Alice is losing, she wins. Facts. Oh, by the way, they're zombies underwater. I guess from the base.
Alice always wins, Jova. That's how it works.
And hey, Jill managed to recover just enough.
So hey, maybe Jill will finally be the one who gets to save the day, since, it would be just a little ridiculous if Alice is somehow the one who solves everything again.
Uh,
Okay, Jill, now go ahead, use the gun and... Or throw it to
Or
the
just
woman who
talk.
just had her heart stopped. Like, yes, I know Jill had to deal
we
with
just
some...
can't. She has to save the day, don't you see? Simba
Oh,
cannot
what's
defeat
this?
Scar. Sora has to, don't you know?
Well, to be fair, Simba was in the party.
Speedballing, ignore me.
What's this?
Duh.
Bye!
This
Good
really is a
lord.
Looney Tunes routine.
Hey, remember how we joked about Michelle Rodriguez being the final boss in the first movie? Now she actually is the final boss in this movie.
And for some reason, the zombies are attracted to her, despite the fact that she's injected with the Las Plagas parasite. Paul, did you remember what the plot is supposed to be?
No. He's too busy jacking off to Mila's footage.
Fair enough, I suppose. At this point, the franchise is almost over.
You see,
Let the man have his moment.
You see, Teo, this is how the filming of these movies went. He handled he handled the camera with one hand because the other hand was occupied, if you know what I mean.
I'm just proposing a tissue towards the camera and say, "Hey, King, you dropped this."
Wow, aren't you so happy we brought back Michelle Rodriguez for that?
Also, Ada is probably, yeah, sure, I'm sure that's gonna work. I'm pretty sure Ada is dying of hypothermia at this point.
I will say this, like you, I've never really cared for the Ada and Leon relationship because...
No, I care for them in the game. It's just that in this movie, there is, much like the other characters, there's no pulse. The movie just drops in these game, related characters and expect you to just,
hey, look, Teo, there's the helicopter.
Well, it was not shot by a bazooka, so there's a plus.
But don't worry, folks. The stupid is not yet over, because you may notice we still got a bit of time left.
Roughly 10-15 minutes, not counting credits.
Paul is the husband equivalent of that annoying parent who keeps showing you pictures of his kids.
Yeah, it's like Mace Hughes. Instead of his wife, it's just his wife.
Hey, guys, have you seen my kids? I have photographs of them. Here, look at my kids.
And look at that, guys. Becky's alright.
Yeah, who the fuck cares about this child character? I'm sorry.
Oh my god, it's...
I know that it sounds mean, but we really
Oh no, I get you.
need this.
Oh no, trust me, I get you. It's like the child character in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, like...
But Pedro,
I hate to say it.
That child was a clone too. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly, that's why...
Oh no, he's right! Paul...
A terrible night to not at all.
Paul, just chill out with the clones, please. When we think Resident Evil, we think zombies, not clones.
I think I'm a clone now.
There's always two of me, just...
hanging
around. I think
Although,
I'm a
to be fair, even the Resident Evil Netflix series got all up in clones.
Damn, Leon also got blue-balled at the end. To be fair, that's peak Leon. He never gets the girl.
So Shira, what do you think of... So Shira, why do you think of the idea of cloning your...
Oh my god! Guys, the U.S. Capitol is in ruins!
And nothing of value.
No, it was lost. Exactly.
Sorry, Drova.
Wait, are we in Battlefield Earth now all of a sudden?
Yes, Pedro?
Shira, what do you think of the idea of cloning your Alice so you have multiple Alices that look just like the OG one? And that way you have multiple of them.
You're not supposed to know about the bunny, homie.
Ah. Well, Shiroi, that's the thing.
Also,
I know a lot of things that you don't know I know.
Oh,
Also,
what's
you-
this?
you
in
got
the
it
White
wrong.
House.
They got it wrong, Drova. This is the Division 3. Wesker
Look
as
at
the
the-
President of the United States. Sure, why not?
How about this, Teo? How about this, Teo? A movie with a shit ton of Monica Bellucci clones.
I'm pretty sure I just need one. And yes,
Here we go.
Wesker just undid the beginning of Afterlife.
Yep, he gave her back her powers, so
You
now
know what
she's...
this means, folks? By the time of the last movie, at least we get the promise of her having her cool superpowers again.
That's right, she's back to God status. But to be fair, there is a reason he did this.
Motomo...
Considering how this movie's gone, she didn't need those powers to do
I get the feeling I get the feeling Motomo Toriyama and Paul W.S. would get along really well if they met each other.
I beg to disagree for a simple reason, Pedro. Because they're so entrenched with each other's wife, they will not comprehend the respective one, the love of their opposite one, respectively. Sure, they will understand they're in a similar position, but since each of their own think their respective wife is the best,
they fight over it.
Again,
My wife is better. No, my wife is better.
Again, the Red Queen is determined to destroy all life on Earth. No, that doesn't make any sense. She is actually about maintaining human life. But whatever.
All right, time for the final shot.
Hold on, Taylor. I got it. Here's what it is. So they would argue about which of their waifus is the better one, and then at some point they realize, okay, there's only one way to settle this: mud fight.
So yes, this is humanity's last stand. That's
the beginning
right.
of the end.
We have Alice, Wesker, Ada Wong, Leon Kennedy, and Jill Valentine atop the White House with all the armies all set to go against all the zombies and now even zombie dragon things.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be kind of like an inspiration from the Bat boss from Resident Evil 5.
And you know what that means, folks. That means essentially this whole movie was just build up for the final one.
And spoiler alert, I can assure
wait.
So this is another thing this movie has in common with Fallen Kingdom, I see.
Also, Tio, let's save that completely as a surprise.
Well, what I can tell you, since I told something like that in the previous movie, don't get too attached to the cast because Jill, Leon, and Ada do not show up in the next movie.
I was kind of hoping to save that for
I know, I
surprise,
already told that Chris was not going to show up in this one, in the previous one, so might as well. The point still is, like he said, don't get too attached to this ending, because if you know anything about this franchise, you know it's not going to be followed at least 100%.
But Tio, we literally have a movie that is nothing but build-up for the final thing, so wouldn't disregarding this movie be utterly stupid and make this movie just ether to the wind?
Once again, we're back to the problem that Extinction had. This was essentially just a setup for something that probably will not be even, be followed properly as it needs to be, We sacrifice game characters for nothing, and the pacing is glacial. The concept of the movie is still relatively simple, but it's stretched beyond belief. Like it's one of those, elastic metal, springs that you're supposed to pull to show your strength. Fuck this. Final thoughts, lives.
Well, that was a movie.
That was certainly a movie.
Okay. It's more entertaining to watch than the other ones. At least the two previous ones, but it's not really saying much.
No.
No, honestly, that's the best I can say about this movie. It's probably the most, on a complete surface level, it's the most fun to watch movie I've seen out of these so far.
Really?
I wasn't bored.
Well, you know what?
The last two movies nearly put me to sleep.
Yeah.
Can't really say much, to be honest. It's fun to watch. It's not good. I mean, the CG looks like it came from Resident Evil 6.
I can't tell if that's a compliment or a diss.
A diss.
Diss, because by 2012. Movies with CG shouldn't look like PS3 games. But there we are. And okay, I do appreciate the sentiment of getting Ada's game actress in on this, dubbing over the live action one in the movie. I still don't know why. It's a bit weird.
It certainly made her sound like Ada.
Yeah, see guys, it is like the games. Are you happy now? But now, other than that, it's fun, but it's still not good. And judging from what I'm hearing about the final chapter,
boy.
Well, I mean, at least the snooty evil guy from the first Tomb Raider film's back.
We'll get to that when we get to it.
At least. But yeah, that's it.
Shiroi.
Shiroi.
These movies just kind of blend together at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But Shiroi, are you not convinced about the awesomeness of Alice?
And Alice.
I have my own Alice, thank you.
I also have my
Shiroi.
own. I also have my
All I
own.
say that his Alice is the best Alice there is. And the
Yeah,
only one
your Alice is not as good as this Alice, though, is she?
How dare you? And you only got one movie left in you, so she's not that great.
Well, we'll have to see also she performs in Monster Hunter, ideally, but...
My
yeah,
my Alice is better than yours.
No, that's what this is at this point. My Alice is better than yours.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Categories, apparently.
Yes, the category is with me.
How sad. Gone.
Yeah, they're just kind of muchness, really. They still don't drag, though, which is surprising. It's the same shit, different day, and I honestly don't really feel anything for them either way. And that's it, honestly.
Pedro.
Apparently, most of the filming was done in Toronto, Ontario.
Yeah, Canadian production is cheaper to do.
Mhm.
Pedro.
Like, okay, it's yet another one of these movies. Like Sakurai said, at this point, these movies serve only one purpose, and there's only so many times I can joke about your obsession with your wife. I get that she's your wife, but that doesn't mean you should be obsessed with her, because at this point, I'm genuinely convinced this is obsession.
Well, Pedro, if it's obsession, then it's two-sided, because the two are head over heels for each other.
Even still, obsession, even if it's two-sided, is not a good thing.
Honestly, all that's missing is for those two to have a kid and literally have the kid star in a movie.
Jesus Christ. This guy is trying. This guy is trying to be Don Mancini and failing at it. The point is, yeah, it sucks. Big surprise. It has nothing to do with the games. The elements it does have from the games are poorly implemented, of course. I mean, what else can I say at this point?
You're welcome.
At this point, it's just same bullshit, different movie. That's it, really. What else can I say that I haven't said already? These movies are really starting to. I'm glad we only have one more after this, because I'm really getting tired of this.
Are you ready to pledge your allegiance to the absolute queen?
No,
And
I
don't
will.
worry, like...
I will die before I do that.
I will
I,
argue
for
that,
one, I choose that.
and I will warn you, I'd say arguably Anderson saved the worst for last.
Hooray!
I'll
All
go
right.
next. Why not?
Yeah, go on,
This
Tio.
is just... Again, I think we took a step backward, because at least Afterlife had a more of a structure, but we got the same problem as that we are stuck in just one location, this underwater facility that as this danger room simulator that Paul W. Anderson think it's so cool that we kind of need to just focus on that. But really... And all these characters brought back from the previous movies for some occasion, and the ones from the games really do not resonate. Oh, Michelle Rodriguez is back, but it's just a clone that's just evil, and also dies very stupidly. Oh, cool, Barry's here, but he also dies a bit anticlimactically. Sure, he gets a last hurrah, but it's basically like Boromir at the end of. Fellowship of the Ring, just much more stupidly. Oh, cool, you brought Ada and Leon, but they're very underutilized, and you're expecting to know their backstory, even if it doesn't make sense for this continuity. Also, you sacrifice K-Mart and Chris in the process. Like, Chris, again...
The mascots!
Going again with the parallel that I made from the previous movie, imagine if in the fifth movie, Bob the Avalanche team member survived an attack, but Cloud died in the process, or at least went off screen. And then in another random facility, you meet Barrett and Reno from the Turks out of nowhere, and Barrett gets killed. That's the vibe that you're getting in terms of parallel with the video game source material for these movies.
I can't wait to see what your parallel for final chapter is going to be, given what happens in that movie.
It's stupidly insane, and not even in a cool kind of way. Even if these movies are trying their damn hardest to be cool action, Again, I'm just laughing at Paul propping his wife with a stick and telling the audience, and telling us, the audience, that we should revere her, and worship her 24/7 because she's the best thing in the world. And again, honest to God, Paul, I may not like her ass, and apologies if I had to notice that, but Paul literally shoved that thing in my face, so he's expecting me a comment on that.
That's an interesting apology. I'm sorry for not liking your wife's ass.
Well, I get that I'm supposed to worship her as the, as the Virgin Mary incarnate,
as the Greek goddess that she is.
Despite the fact that also about this, in general, she's funny more than anything. As an action heroine. I haven't seen yet the Blood Rain movies in a very long while, so I forgot how the main character was portrayed in those. I think it's worse than this, technically. But man, Hollywood really could not get, adapting a female protagonist for a video game adaptation ever. Did they ever? Because Heavenly Sword did not get it right, certainly. The Tomb Raider movies really did not. I think the 2018 movie maybe got the closest, but even then did not. What's there? Blood Rain, like we mentioned, this one with Alice, and again we have characters like Jill and Claire, but they're just lip service to this majestic being that we have to worship.
Oh yeah.
Paul, like I said, I liked the early movies, even Event Horizon, despite warts and all. What happened to you?
He met Mila Jovovich.
Okay, no, I'm not again. You made the comparison, but despite everything, I refuse to believe she's the Yoko Ono equivalent. I really refuse. But no, this is just bad. Again, we're combining the worst things from Extinction and Afterlife into one package, and for a movie that is pointless. This movie, I can tell you, even without having to spoil the final chapter, in the grand scheme of things, we could have just skipped this movie and moved to the next, and nothing would have changed. Trust me.
Arguably, it would have been better if we had just skipped from Afterlife to the final chapter.
Because, like I said, a lot of the characters in this movie do not come back. The situation, you will see how it evolves, but trust me, whatever cool scenario you're thinking in your head, it's not gonna happen. And even out of universe, we had to wait 4 years before the final movie got made, got released properly. So again, part of me believes Paul wasn't even sure that we were gonna make another one.
From what I can understand, apparently Final Chapter did have a bit of a troubled development, which does lead me to wonder if, this movie, if Final Chapter nearly got canned or something, I
Possible. Or maybe had extensive rewrites. That would explain a lot.
I legit also wonder if, despite the fact that these movies were apparently making money, by the time of Retribution, Sony or whichever studio was in charge of these films
Sony, but you have to remember, Jova, this is the same company that thought it was perfectly fine, thanks to just the direct-to-video stuff, to milk the shit out of those Swan Princess in the poorest way possible.
Although, keep in mind...
I know that this is also the same company that, despite making a lot of money, thought that the Amazing Spider-Man duology was a failure, So I guess that, there's no real accountability for taste in their decision, but...
Well, keep in mind, the difference, though, is that those were released direct to video, so they didn't have to worry about the budgets as much. These came to theaters, so grossing was integral.
At this point, I have to agree with Pedro. It probably should just, go to the safe direct-to-video route. It probably would have allowed them to do all those sequels, but I think it was probably his idea to push for theatrical releases instead. And
I do wonder...
Fine, Paul, whatever. And Paul is like, please, here's also a picture of Mila. Please tell me she's cool.
No, Paul, we already have 10 of those pictures.
Oh, it's like that meme from Jimmy Neutron. Paul, this is the 7th time you presented a photo of Mila Jovovich in class.
My big take is Sony was starting to have a bit of cold feet, whereas while Retribution was still a success, it did gross notably less. Keep in mind, it cost more to make than Afterlife, but made less than Afterlife as well.
Still, this movie sucks. The only cool thing that I will say that the color distribution is actually better than the previous movies, so it's actually more pleasing to the eyes. There's still the occasional, flashes of light, but they're much reduced compared to the previous movies. So Paul is improving on that aspect too, I suppose. The score still sucks. I hope that the one of the final chapter is better. Like I said, audience, I only watched these movies once and scatteredly, so my memories are still hazy on the matter, aside from some key important details. But whatever. Again, I guess in hindsight, it's at least a bit of a blessing in disguise that we're finishing these now, because having to wait 1 year after this travesty to have one more movie, let's remove these two while we're at it.
Pretty much.
These movies are like a dental appointment. It's going to be painful, but you have to get through with it, so just bear it.
Can I get gassed with laughing gas at least?
Dude, I wish there was a 1 hour variant.
can
I
have-
hate having
you-
my gums being picked at.
That's the thing too. Supposedly Mila Jovovich is supposed to be the gas.
Apologies, Paul. I just don't get it. Come on, Driver.
Resident Evil Retribution. It feels like a case of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. On the one hand, the visuals are more pleasant to look at than the previous movies. Like, they actually remembered what color is. On the other hand, we have more characters from the games added in, and, well, arguably not done the service that they should be. Now, yes, they do have bits where they, replicate moments from Resident Evil 4, a bit from 5, and again, surprisingly, and I guess coincidentally, stuff from 6, even though this apparently came out before 6. Yeah, I don't get it. And okay, to give them credit, they got the characters' looks right. And you know what the sad thing is? For the most part, they have gotten major characters' looks right. Like, they got Jill incredibly right in Apocalypse. They got Nemesis right, although they gave his tentacles to Dr. Isaacs in Extinction for some reason. That continues here. Like, honestly, I think the only character who you could maybe argue didn't look like a good replication was, again, sadly, the character who will have been treated best in this franchise, Chris Redfield, since he was a bit on the generic side. But even he wasn't terrible. But, yeah, so we have Ada, Barry, and Leon added. Now, they do get to do stuff. Of course, Alice gets to do the major lion share stuff. To the point where Ada even grants her iconic gear. Like, maybe it's a bit of a stretch to call that Mary Sueish, but iconic characters giving the original character their most iconic weapons, because it'd be better with her. The music is all over the place, and yet I can barely remember a thing. So you brought Luther West back after you made a big deal of him surviving in the 4th movie, only to kill him off. Kind of reminds me of how you had LJ survive Apocalypse, only to have him die in Extinction. Anderson, is there any reason why you have a big deal with black characters surviving, only to kill them off later anticlimactically?
I will say this, however, not only Luther lasted longer and he was actually a more likable character, but the only problem that I have is the way he dies. He still dies while fighting, Michelle Rodriguez's character, on equal turf with Leon, and at the very least he shows to be competent. Sure, the fact that he's a basketball player is not a thing anymore. I guess it wasn't really important to mention. Like I said, the only problem is just the way he dies. While instead, JC was a horrible character from the beginning, a horrible stereotype, and also got to die in the stupidest cliche ever, by being beaten by a zombie, hiding it from the others, and only damaging the group as a result when he finally kicked the bucket. So no, Jova, I don't think there's a equal comparison here.
To be fair, I was mainly joking about that because, let's be honest, I'd have to pretty much go after him for how he treats almost any character who's not Alice poorly anyway. It's just, if I had a nickel for every time it's happened, I'd only have 2, but it's weird it happened twice. But I digress, again, and yes, This movie loves to play the nostalgia card hard, especially with the first movie. Hey, remember the Umbrella team from the first movie? Here are their evil clones. Remember Michelle Rodriguez? Well, now that she's a bigger name thanks to Fast and Furious, here she is back too, with a good and evil version. For some reason. Again, props to Sienna Golry. She really gives 110% in her role as Jill. Look forward to seeing what she'll do in the final chapter. And they did get the likeness down right. But once again, it feels like Anderson shoves in stuff that he heard from the games into the movie without recognizing the context. Los Plagos is now everywhere in this movie, literally called by name, with no explanation as to where it popped out from. Like, I'm not even kidding. Look at any of the previous movies. Los Plagos was never mentioned. So, if you're a movies-only fan, you will probably be utterly confused by this. And while Ada does get some cool action scenes, while Leon and Barry get to do some stuff, like I said, ultimately it's Alice, who, mind you, nearly doomed the world just to go back for this little girl who may or may not be a clone, probably is, or was a kid that the clones birthed.
Jova, the biggest question in all of these regarding this child character is simple. Who cares?
Nobody.
Apparently Alice does.
Bonding will say, nobody cares.
Nobody cares, Jova. Nobody cares.
Normally I'd go for that, but apparently Alice cared enough to nearly risk the survival of the human race.
When I was playing Resident Evil, clearly, the big thing that I was missing from the experience was to one of my characters learning how to become a single parent with a child.
Which, given the Redfield lineage meme is the thing.
At the very least, The Last of Us is built on top of this. It didn't
Well,
just drop that randomly.
I know you joke, Tio, but isn't, parenting kind of a factor of 7 and 8 when you get down to it?
Not to this extent. Not really.
Or Ethan's gotta rescue his daughter, but okay, to be fair, it's done better there than in these movies
And
by
not
a
to
long
this
shot.
extent.
But I mean, holy cow. And the thing is, even with all the good elements, what this movie essentially is just set up for the final chapter. Like, yes, you have that awesome shot of Alice and all the game's characters ready to face off against the apocalypse. But if you want that actual fight, oh, sorry, suckers, wait for the next movie. No refunds.
Ugh.
Like, seriously, imagine if Avengers Infinity War cuts off right before anyone fights Thanos and is like, to actually see the fight with Thanos, tune in for Endgame.
I'm pretty sure there is a movie in general, I forgot which specific one, that kind of did this already, not just this one.
I mean, look, maybe it's hard for me to gauge if I still consider this like worse than Afterlife and Extinction or better. Like, on the one hand, yes, you do get more enjoyable action than Extinction by a long shot. I guess I would probably put this at the very least on the level of Extinction. I'm definitely going to say that Afterlife is still better than this. Like I said, Afterlife at least, had game elements. Sure, they didn't fit all the time, but again, at least Chris actually got to have a proper fight with Wesker. Again, the character who looked arguably the most generic is actually the game's character who gets treated the best in the grand scheme of things. Like I said, I will explain in well enough detail by Final Chapter why that is the case. And like I said for Final Chapter, Anderson saved the worst for last. Oh, don't get me wrong. Each movie has had its own signature problem, but Final Chapter, oh boy, Final Chapter decided it really wanted the series to go out with a bang, if you know what I mean. And it isn't quite possibly the worst way possible. Tune in tomorrow, folks, for when we finally end this.
See ya.
See ya.